Let's talk more about the strong-willed child and why everything you've been taught about discipline probably won't work with these kiddos, okay? Timeouts, threats, consequences, none of this lands the way it's supposed to. And if you've been trying traditional discipline methods to address misbehavior in spirited children, I'm going to tell you exactly why it keeps backfiring. So, because strong-willed kids they're not really wired like other kids, right? When you try to use the same parenting strategies that everyone else uses, you're actually making things worse. So if you've been feeling like you've tried everything, positive discipline, consequences, reward charts, gentle explanations, and your strong-willed child just keeps pushing back with more challenging behavior, mama, I see you. And you need parenting advice that actually works for your child, not the textbook child, but your child. And real quick, if this is hitting home, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button because we're always giving out new ways to handle different mama struggles and parenting struggles, and I don't want you to miss any of them. So here's what I hear from moms all the time, and honestly, this was me too. So you're trying to explain something to your strong-willed child and you're calm, you're clear, you're thinking you're doing everything right, but they look you dead in the eye and they say no. Or they argue back if they're older, especially. Or they question everything you just said. Or they literally tell you why you're wrong. And you're standing there thinking, I'm the parent. Why doesn't anything I say actually land with my child? Okay, so here's what's really happening with your child's emotional regulation or, that sensitive child wiring. So strong-willed kids have what I call a high autonomy need. Their brain is constantly asking, do I have power here? Do I have a say? Am I being controlled? And traditional discipline, even the gentle kind, is built on the parent having the answers and the child accepting them. But a strong-willed child's brain doesn't work that way. So when you tell them something directly, their brain hears, you're being controlled, push back. But when they discover it themselves or when they learn it through a story, suddenly it clicks because now it feels like their idea, their discovery, and their power. So let me tell you about my strong-willed son. So this kid, he has something to say back to me about literally everything. And I mean everything because he's 10 now. But even, as a little one, he's always been strong-willed, But as they get older, they have more of the talking back kind of traits. And I could tell him literally the sky is blue and he'd find a way to argue, oh, that is actually more cyan. He questions me all the time. He challenges me. He never just takes what I say at face value. And for the longest time, I thought I was doing something wrong. Like, why doesn't he just trust me? And why does he have to fight me on everything? And I tried to explain things, calmly to him. I tried consequences. I tried positive techniques, positive discipline. Nothing worked. He just would dig in harder and harder. And then I realized something. He doesn't believe me when I just tell him things. Not because he's being defiant, but because his brain needs to process information differently. So I started using stories instead of direct instruction. And oh my gosh, mamas, this changed everything. Instead of saying, you need to share with your brother, I read him a book about sharing. And we talk about the characters, what they did, and how it made the other character feel. And suddenly he would come to the conclusion, oh, I think I should share more with my brother. Same lesson, but because it came through a story instead of from me directly, his brain did not resist it. So this is the part from my 10-minute rescue course that I teach. It's called the book therapy method. And using stories to teach emotional skills and life lessons, it works so well because it removes the power struggle. It takes away that trigger of fighting with you and opposing you, okay? So let me break down why the traditional stuff doesn't work with these kiddos. Number one is because their brain filters you out. When you tell a strong-willed child what to do directly, their brain literally puts up a filter, and it's not conscious. It's not conscious. It's automatic. Okay, they're wired to question authority and think for themselves. They're like natural born leaders. Okay, this is a good thing. It's just really difficult to parent. So the next thing is that they need to own the learning. Strong-willed kids don't just want to follow rules. They want to understand the why. They want to come to their own conclusions. And when you force feed them the answers, they reject them. And then direct discipline feels like control to them. and we've already talked about this, but it's worth repeating. Any form of discipline that removes their power is going to trigger their fight response. So timeouts, consequences, punishments, all of it feels like control, and they will fight control every single time. So what do you do? Let me give you the framework that actually works. Here's tool number 1, the book therapy that I mentioned. So instead of telling them directly, use stories, use books, use characters. And you don't have to use a book. The story could just be like, oh yeah, I knew this person one time, and then tell them the story. Storytelling. Let them learn through someone else's experience. Hey, let's read this book about a kid who learned to handle frustration. And then afterward, you can ask, what do you think that character could have done differently? And watch they themselves teach the lesson. So tool number 2 is going to be choices, but strategic ones. And we've talked about this in the last video, but it's worth saying again. Give them choices that lead to the outcome that you want. Not, do you want to brush your teeth? Because they're going to say no. But do you want to brush your teeth before or after we read books? They get the power and you get the cooperation. And then tool number 3, let them be the expert. So strong-willed kids love feeling like they know something that you don't. So I like to use that. so something like, hey buddy, I'm trying to figure out how to help your brother calm down when he's upset. And you're really good at big feelings. What do you think would help him? Now they're teaching you, and guess what? They'll use that exact strategy the next time they're upset. Tool number 4. I like to call this dramatic play prep, but we're teaching through play. So before a hard situation like going to the doctor or meeting new people, you can role play what's going to happen with toys or stuffed animals. So let's pretend this bear is going to the doctor. What do you think the bear is feeling? What could help the bear feel brave? They process the situation without you lecturing about it. And we use this exact method for my little one when he just started crying every time I took him to school in the morning, and it was heartbreaking. So him, me, and his older brother we acted out, and it only took like one day of this, and we did it a few times because we switched roles. So I would pretend I was the teacher, and then one of them would be the parent and the other one would be the kid. And the kid was like really scared, but the parent said, no, it's okay, I'll be back, honey. And the teacher, was really sweet too. And then we switched our roles. So we each got to play a different part in our skit. And we basically helped him process this. And literally within 3 days, my child stopped crying when I dropped him off to daycare or school. It was amazing. So tool number 5 is provide the words when they're in a tough moment. We've talked about this before, but you don't explain it to death, okay? You just give them the exact words to use. You can explain to them, you can say, I need space. Hey, tell brother, I need space, please. You can say, I'm really upset right now. Short, clear, no lectures, just the tool that they need in the moment. Give them the words, because if they don't have the words, it just builds up inside of them. They can't express themselves and they'll just burst, okay? So here's what I want you to remember, mama. Your strong-willed child is not broken. They're not trying to make your life harder. They're wired to think independently, to question, to lead. And in the real world, those are incredible strengths. Your job isn't to break their will, it's to guide it, to teach them how to use their power in healthy ways. And that requires a completely different approach than what we're taught, right? So let me tell you what happened when I made this shift with my son. Instead of fighting him on everything, I started using stories. And I started giving him choices. I started letting him teach me and his brother things. And slowly, not overnight, but slowly, he started cooperating more. Not because I forced him to, but because he felt like he had the power in the process. And he still questions me on everything. That's just who he is. But now I'm not fighting it. I'm working with it. And I'm going to be real with you. Parenting a strong-willed child is exhausting. Even with all the right tools, it's still hard work. So give yourself grace. You're not failing because it's hard. It's hard because you're raising that future leader. It's no small task, okay? So this week, I want you to try one thing. Instead of telling your strong-willed child what to do directly, try teaching them through a story. Find a book. Use a character. Let them discover the lesson instead of you forcing it on them, and watch what shifts. So in the next video, we're going to be talking about present parenting, how to create a calmer, safer environment where your kids actually feel emotionally secure instead of like walking on eggshells. So make sure you're subscribed because I don't want you to miss it. I'll see you there.